son of a father who coached, and obviously had a strong passion for playing all sports in general. I'm one of those ones, football season, play football, basketball season, play basketball, baseball season, play baseball. You know, grew up in an area where, you know, sports is competition and competition's life. I mean, if someone says they're faster than you, you know, kick off the shoes and let's race. So, you know, football and sports in general was always an opportunity for me to go out there and compete, and I love doing that. And it was really when I was at a community college, I started tutoring people, and it felt good to go out and teach. You know, I got my fair share of trouble when I was younger, so it was finally doing something good for my community, made me feel good about myself. And as I started tutoring, I felt like this is my calling, to go out and teach someone, help people. And you know, I just associate football with teaching. You know, when it comes to being a coach, it's teaching the sport of football, but also teaching about life. So it was really at Mount Sac that I decided I wanted to become a teacher. I wanted to become a coach. At USC, obviously, you know, you're playing with people and against people that are going to make it to the NFL, and that remains a dream. You know, and once you do the combine, they say, we'll call you. And you start saying, okay, now what am I going to do in life? And that's really, I was like, you know, I want to go back and be a teacher and coach football. And, you know, I've been doing it ever since I graduated. And it's really a passion. You know, it's never been about a paycheck for me. I just love doing it. You know, I won't tell them I'll do it for free. You know, I believe if you're good at something, you get paid in doing it. But it's one of those, I mean, I do it, don't ever look at a paycheck. I just do it because I love doing it. And to me, that's a blessing, you know. It's funny, when I interview coaches, one of the questions I ask every coach, are you married and do you have a coach's wife? Because if you don't have a coach's wife, you're not going to be a coach. Just simply, you know, a coach's wife is someone who understands during the football season, you know, you're hardly going to see your husband. And you know, are you going to be able to deal with that? So I'm fortunate I have a coach's wife. You know, my wife, she's a cheer coach at our alma mater at Ganesha, and so she's just as passionate when it comes to helping her cheerleaders. And you know, my son played through my football program. My daughter, you know, is a multi-sport athlete, but she was a water girl, you know, in our program. My dad films the games and helps me break it down and helps cut up highlights with me. So really, football to me is just family. You know, I mean, I just brought my family part of this program, and my family enjoys being part of the program. And you know, there'll be times that I'll get that burnout, be tired, like, man, I'm tired. I mean, you know, my wife's the one who's like, no, you can't quit. This is what you do. This is what you care about. And I mean, you know, I think she gets a kick out of it just as much as I do. So, been pretty fortunate in that sense. My daughter, even pregnant, was on the sidelines and you know, cheering us on. So it's really, my family's just a sports-oriented family. You know, my mom sends me quotes during the week of what to tell players, and after the game, you know, she'll, you know, you're king of the hill now, go find a new mountain to climb. I mean, you know, little quotes like that. So it's just, you know, I mean, whether it's by nature or nurture, I was bred to be, you know, a competitor, and my family stands behind me with that. So I'm pretty fortunate to have that family background. Now, number one, you better set your expectations out. I mean, you put your expectations out for your coaches, put your expectations out for your players, and your expectations out for your parents. You know, find that philosophy that you believe in. The first time I met Pete Carroll, I was the offensive coordinator at the time, and he asked me, what's your offensive philosophy? I started to think about, what is my offensive philosophy? And while I was thinking, he said, you don't know. And I was embarrassed. You know, I mean, here's Pete Carroll. And he said, you don't know. He said, if you don't know, your coaches don't know. And if your coaches don't know damn well, your players don't know either. And he really caught me, and it was right. You know what I mean? Have your expectations. These are the expectations of the football program. This is my philosophy. Here's what we're going to accomplish. You need that first and foremost. Decide what's important to you. You know, do we want to win every game? There's no doubt about it. We could play marbles right now. I'm going to try to beat you. You know, take these tiles right here. Let's play hopscotch. I'm going to try to beat you. I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong with competition. I think competition's a good thing, and winning's important. I mean, we want to win. We want to prepare to win and teach that life lesson. But for me, our philosophy, one of our goals, and this is what we set up, and this is where number 2 comes in, make sure you balance the academics with the athletics. And I think the reason why we've had such a successful turnaround of players getting scholarships is that we talk about scholarships freshman year to be part of this dimensional football program. That is the expectation. We're going to play really good football teams. We're going to make it to the playoffs. you are going to graduate. We have a 100% graduation rate, and you are going to go to college. We have a little over 80% of our football players go directly to a four-year university. So, learning how to balance the academics with the athletics, getting players to understand that you might have to go to Mars Hill, North Carolina Division II school, or a Chadwick State, Northeastern Nebraska Division II school, or you might be one of the USC, UCLA guys that we send out. But getting that goal of this is what's important to us. You graduating high school, you going to college, and then extending your college career, for football, 4 more years. So that's important. And then coaches, if you're a head coach, coaching, you got to hire the best coaches you can. And it's hard because my better coaches come in 2-3 years, they make a name for themselves, and then they go take a job. And I'm not mad at them. I mean, it's the business. But you got to surround yourself around good coaches. I think sometimes a head coach gets afraid to hire a coach who might know more than him because he wants to be the man. This year we hired Chris Claymore as our defensive coordinator. 9 years in the NFL. Great. Arguably one of the greatest linebackers to play at USC. Could I be a better defensive coach than him? No, he's the man. He's my defensive coordinator. Where some coaches were afraid to hire him because they think they would look, dumb next to what he knows. But the better coaches you have, that's going to make your team better. It's going to make your players better. And if your goal is to go out there and make your team better and eventually win games, you got to have the coaching staff around you.